Eyes of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
We did a lot of right things. We didn't cheat. We talked before the game about getting in a run and gun game and a track meet, and we don't have success like that. Forget about who we're playing or where they are in the standings and all of that. We can, but possibly, but it's not how we want to have success. And we did a real good job.
I mean, don't sell yourself short, Dino. I think you can win pretty much anyway at this point.
Oh, hold on.
Get the damn flag.
We gotta get the flag. Woohoo!
Get the flag. Get Z flag.
The flag. From the Zolga.
Z flag.
Z flag.
Yes. Mackie and Athletic Judd. Daily Minnesota sports. Entertainment, therapy, speculation. It's no surprise that Mike Russo taking a couple days and Judd, Athletic Judd, fills in very nicely.
Oh yeah,
last night
1,400 plus words, boys. 1,400. That's the great thing.
Wow.
There's no newspaper restrictions. There's no column inches on the internets. You can just keep writing and writing.
Do they make? I mean, did you have an editor try to hack and slice and stuff, or did you?
I don't think so. No. Okay. Yes, he did a great job, but he
threw a comma in here or there.
Yeah.
You're flying.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he fact checked some stuff, but
fact check all your fake news.
Yeah. The run-on sentence. I think the run-on sentence stopped being important as far as breaking them up in sports writing circa 1985. So
yeah, you can just
you can write run-on sentences. You just need dashes and commas.
Yeah. I like dashes personally because it emphasizes the second part of the sentence that you're trying to highlight. The comma, people can kind of just fly past it and not get the importance of it.
I agree completely. And I also like the dash because to me, it makes it easier for the reader to tell the difference. So like the sentence, the structure makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like a comma, you can miss and then you're like, what, this, huh? And you got to go back and read it.
Yeah, I mean, you're setting the reader up to say that, hey, here's a dash, pay attention.
Yeah.
Because this next thing is going to be really important. Maybe the most important thing you're going to read here.
Or between the dashes, I'm just going to put a nugget that's going to help you enjoy the sentence more. And it's a run-on sentence, but don't you say anything because they'll stop being important in 1985.
Yeah, here's the run-on sentence. And in the middle of it, here's a really important thing separated by two dashes. So lock it in.
Amen.
Lock it in. There you go, Dex. There's your writing class for the day.
Go Huskies.
Lock it in.
All right, boys. I know that Judd covered that game last night, but the Hockey Whisperer wants to come in with some observations. So he doesn't want to trample on the work that Judd is doing here. He wants to throw out some observations and get the thoughts of Judd's Hockey Show and Athletic Judd here. All right?
A man who lives right by Climate Pledge Arena because of his love for hockey is so great.
Still haven't seen a game. I've seen
you live right by it,
I've seen two stand-up shows, and I think I was in there for something else too. I can't remember. By the way, they have a great setup next door. They've got an armory that they just kind of carved out, and they put like 7 or 8 different little restaurants and bars and stuff.
Cool. Really?
And they have events in there and stuff. It's just kind of it's an event area. It's right by the Space Needle. Very exciting.
I'll look forward to seeing it
when the Wild come back next year at some point.
Yeah, Judd and I will be there in the guest bedrooms. It'll be a whole thing.
Please do. Yep. Now that the septic flooding is gone, you guys are welcome to come and hang out. That was a trip. Anyways, all right. 4 observations, all revolving in and around Marc-Andre Fleury from the Hockey Whisperer. Okay. So the Hockey Whisperer likes to throw things out. You guys can help him calibrate as we go into the playoffs, and hopefully we can have another Nino Niederreiter scores a goal in double overtime moment. I'm trying to hone the radar here for the Hockey Whisperer, so he can make crystal ball predictions in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. And the first one, I'm going to go back to the Athletic Judwell here. The first observation is the old scribe, Judd Zulgad, still has his fastball. I want to read you guys, and this is not tongue-in-cheek. This is brilliant sports writing here. And for those of you wondering, what are we talking about? Judd covered the game last night for the great Mike Russo, and Judd's been a football beat writer for his life, but a huge hockey fan. He can step in. The versatility is incredible.
Yep.
And here are the last 3 graphs of this article, summing up another exciting night at the X. Fleury was set to head back to his temporary home, a hotel room, after the win. But at least he would have some company. The Flower wasn't going to leave his new flowers behind, the crowd threw to him.
Wow.
Quote, probably put them in my hotel room, he said. Some plants might be nice in there. Fitting, since everything is coming up roses so far for the Wild's big trade deadline acquisition.
Oh.
Get the flag.
There you go. There you go. There you
Get the
go.
pen.
Take that, Red Smith. Take that, Jim Murray. That's right.
Everything coming up roses.
Everything
Did you have that line in your head as you walked into the arena, or did it come to you during the game? Give us the post game breakdown here.
Okay. So ordinarily in the press conferences, when it's Sarah and Russo and the ordinary contingent of beat reporters, Judd and like Dex will sit there quietly and just hear what the coach has to say and the players, because former beat writer Judd hated, and Phil, who covered the Twins, probably thought the same thing, radio guy who would come in and start asking questions. And it's like,
just like a
dude,
camera guy. Just
and it's like, take the soundbite. Like you're doing nothing here that requires it's fun to listen to and it's informative, but you're asking questions to hear yourself talk. But last night, Judd had to write 1,400 words, so he needed some quotes. So I thought the flower thing, I love this. I think it's a great. I mean, it's genuine, organic. And so I was trying to get Fleury to talk about this, because he had said after the win against Columbus on Saturday, this is the first time. So it's interesting. So he gave me that quote. So I led and ended the story with it. And as I was writing that quote to end the story, and I thought that quote might be that kicker, it hit me. Oh, hold on a second here. Everything's coming up roses. So that was completely a last second. This is a better kicker.
I mean, come on.
And there you have it. There's the breakdown. That's right. That's right, radio people. Don't ask questions if you don't need to.
Just know your
annoying
spot.
People.
Sneak it in at like the last, towards the end of the press conference if you're going to ask something.
Well,
have some self-awareness.
There's
but
nothing,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hey, Skip. Hey, Skip, tell me about the left-handers
Hey,
stuff
Coach.
today.
Oh,
it's
man,
like, I got to write stuff, dude. Just
That
don't
was-
say, and I'm talking about myself now, too. This is why I don't ask many questions.
That was a big thing. Yeah, covering baseball. I covered the Twins beat from like 2010 through 13ish, and oftentimes, even though beat writers are competing with each other for information and attention from the audience and stuff, so you're not like mortal enemies necessarily, but you're competing. You are my competition, but the beat writers oftentimes will work. You're not just gonna bulldog 5 straight questions on your own,
right?
But there's kind of an unspoken thing of, okay, if there's some important thing here, I'll throw the first one out, maybe a follow up, and then the other beat writer will follow it up, and we'll go down a thread, right?
Yes.
And there's nothing like, I hate to pick on like TV camera guys sometimes. We'll barrel in like they need to get a soundbite previewing the next series or something, and like with no awareness, they'll just blurt out like, "Can you talk about the Pirates?" Dude, just calm down.
We're afraid the pitcher has been. I mean, he is really struggling. We are really disappointed. Talk about the Blue Jays.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about the pitcher you're talking about.
All right, Hockey Whisper observation number 2 here. It is not a waste of money for fans to buy flowers. So I get that Marc-Andre Fleury after the game is trying to be modest and, hey, it's great. And I don't have the exact quote in front of me. You were there for it. But it's great. Fans don't need to waste their money on flowers. This is not a waste of money. This, Marc-Andre Fleury, is an investment. It's fans investing in a playoff run, in a run to a cup. It's fans investing in a parade at some point. I love it. It's a vibe. The whole thing is a vibe, as they say on the internet. And I hope he doesn't resist it. I hope he doesn't feel, because he's now twice brought up it's like, when they throw flowers at a figure skater, and I can't tell, does he feel like it's kind of beneath him? I hope he embraces it. I think he is.
No, he is. So this is really weird. He is a Hall of Famer. Like, he's going to first ballot. He is a legend. His teammates idolize him. And as far as I can tell, now I'm going to be very careful here because I always say we don't know guys. But as far as I can tell, this guy is as genuine as it gets. He's embarrassed. But not in a bad way. He's embarrassed about, they shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I like that.
You guys, he got done. I've never seen this in my time covering sports. He got done with his in press conference room presser last night. And says, thanks, guys. Starts to walk away, pivots, turns around, and says to Jesse Pierce and Sarah from the Star Tribune, is that okay that I said guys? And they're like, of course it is. And he's like, well, I just want to make sure. I mean, most athletes call everybody man and don't even give it a thought. Yeah, he legitimately stopped and asked, but I mean, I've never seen this before. It's the damnedest thing, and I think I think it comes from a complete place of being genuine. But it's hold on a second. Did a pro athlete who's 37, who's going to the Hall of Fame, just ask two women, is it okay I said guys? And of course they're like, of course it's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's a really cool anecdote. I think it shows you there's some self-awareness, there's some empathy, and all those things are, in terms of being a leader in the room too,
yes,
having self-awareness and empathy, those are important traits.
Yes,
I love it.
He actually, I think he has the ability to take what was a really good room before chemistry-wise and up it. I think he's upping that room. I really do.
Okay, observation number 3 here from the Hockey Whisper is presented by his friends who provided this nice quarter zip here.
Yeah, I like
Federated Insurance.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Federated is like having a great netminder for your business. They're there to block risks. They're there to kick save a risk over here, potentially fall on a risk over there for you. They've been around for over 100 years, helping businesses get to the next level. You've already got a successful business. Now it's all about risk management and really honing things. And Federated has specialized industries that they focus on day in and day out. You can find a full list of those industries at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. Okay, observation number 3. For Marc-Andre Fleury, it's funny what happens when you play behind an actual good team. So the Hockey Whisperer was doing a little digging on Chicago this season, which is not a good hockey team. His second to last game with Chicago, they allowed 48 shots on goal, which, by the way, he stopped 46 of them.
He was brilliant.
Just getting peppered with shots. So Chicago had 11 games this season before they traded Marc-Andre Fleury, where they allowed at least 60 shot attempts, including misses, in a game. So that's just getting absolutely peppered. So 11 of those games. The Wild have 4 such games. So not that you're not going to get peppered. He had to make over 30 saves last night. So there's going to be games where you get peppered. But the only goal he allowed last night was sort of I don't want to call it 100% fluky, but it was kind of a pinball, shuffle in front of the net. It's a power play. Hard to put that on the goalie. He seems very dialed in, and it helps to not just be getting peppered like he was in Chicago. Your guys' thoughts?
Dex?
Yeah, when he was in Chicago, so this at one time he was leading the league in this statistic from Natural Stat Trick, which was average goal distance. So he was giving up goals from far away areas, i.e., he had no chance, nothing to help him block the shot, nothing to help him do anything. So the goals that he was allowing were coming from further away from the crease and stuff. So he was leading the league in that, and that's because Chicago's defense was a sieve. They weren't going to sell out for them. They weren't going to make pass difficult for opposing skaters to put the shot on net. And now at the Wild, their defense, their expected defense, has suggested all season that if they just get average goaltending, if not better, they should be one of the best teams in the NHL. And that's what you get now at Fleury. Fleury is an above-average goaltender, and he's been more consistent than Cam Talbot and Capo throughout his career. So now that number should go down and make things easier on your netminder.
I would liken this to a starting pitcher who's been really good, who has a bad year with a bad team and gets moved at the deadline and comes in and bolsters that team. I think it's a breath of fresh air for the team that acquires that player, in this case, Fleury. I think it's a huge breath of fresh air for the goaltender. So, yeah, this is, and Dex and I talked about this quite a bit as we discussed the possibility of the trade. And we both said that exact thing. We both said, if his stats aren't good, who cares? If he gets traded to a good team, he is going to take off. And I firmly believe, too, it's cliche, but Marc-Andre Fleury is a big game goalie. And when you don't play in big games, like the Blackhawks are not playing in any big games.
Yeah.
Game after game after game, it wears you down. Ultimately, I hate to say it because I'm sure he didn't try and think like this, but what's the point?
Yeah, he's
now
already won 3 cups. He's played in the biggest stages, and it's like, now I'm just playing on a crappy team.
His team's going nowhere. It's sort of a lost cause. So yeah, this is why this acquisition made so much damn sense.
Yeah. And two, like, just a side street here. I know that we're kind of waiting out to see, is it going to be Nashville or St. Louis? The Western Conference is so interesting in that you got Colorado at the top. Calgary, in terms of points, is part of the middle class, but Calgary is tied with Colorado in terms of point or goal differential. So you can make a case that Calgary is actually better than their current win-loss and point total would suggest. And then you've got sort of that second tier, or call it like the 1B tier, whatever you want to call it. I think the Wild are probably at the front of that tier, just ahead of Nashville and St. Louis. Correct the Hockey Whisperer if he's wrong on any of this. After that, the Western Conference is just kind of meh. Not that some of those teams, like in Edmonton, can't, in a 7-game series, get hot and win a series, but it feels like it's Colorado and Calgary probably should have more points than than they have right now. And Minnesota's right there at the top of that next tier.
Yeah, and I think playoff-wise too, and this is certainly not the be-all, end-all, but I think what you have to look at also is not just how teams potentially will be playing when the playoffs start, but also what really feels like a galvanized team. Colorado's interesting. Landeskog's out. McKinnon's now lost after that absolutely horrendous decision to jump and fight Dumba. Colorado strikes me as a team, because there's so much hype there and the expectations are huge, that I don't know that they're going to perform in the playoffs like people expect. I think Calgary is going to be an enormous pain in the ass. Sutter's a great coach. They are a hard team to play. So I'm not saying that the Western Conference is not going to be extremely difficult. I think the Avs, though, ultimately playoff-wise, might have more flaws than we think. And this Wild team, I just keep coming back to the fact that they continually play as a team. The goaltending has now done a complete turnaround. And when you have Kirill Kaprizov, if Kirill Kaprizov can perform even close in the playoffs to what he's doing now, and he did struggle against the Golden Knights last season, you have, for the first time, and not a lot of teams have this, you have a guy that can make a monumental difference in a close game in a heartbeat. All those things are important.
Colorado has 4 home losses in regulation this season, so if you do wind up facing Colorado, you're probably going to have to snipe 3 home games and cross your fingers on a 7-game series.
But if you go play a really good game there in their barn, love that term, and you get a win, I think there's a lot of things that could throw them off. I really do. And they are doing the Zolgadian, which goes against the Zolgadian rules. Huge, right? Number 1, when you think you're done, get out, retire. Number 2, it is a fool that chases the President's Trophy for the most points in the National Hockey League, which Colorado's doing. They're trying to win games that they should be, I'm not saying not trying, but they are definitely putting a premium on a regular season award that, to me, deteriorates your playoff chances because you work hard to get those points. And if you go back and look at the minutes that guys played on Sunday here, they are playing some guys way too bleeping much.
Good. Let them.
No, exactly.
Let them wear themselves. Let them punch themselves out.
Yeah, but that's what they're doing. Like instead of saying we have to disperse minutes evenly or at least come a little bit closer, they are going all in to try and win a trophy that if I owned a team, I would tell my GM and coach first day, I never want to win this bleeping trophy because it's the stupidest trophy around, the President's Trophy.
Well, if they get a little too worn out or they feel like their energy levels are lower than usual in Colorado for whatever reason, the good news is Mayo Clinic is accepting new patients. So, the Rochester Clinic and now in Minneapolis, and they will see men of all ages for any number of different male-related issues. Could be vasectomy, could be infertility, cancer screenings, cancer treatment. You can request an appointment at menshealth.mayoclinic.org. That's menshealth.mayoclinic.org. www.mayoclinic.org to feel optimized. Okay, the fourth and final Hockey Whisperer Marc-Andre Fleury observation for you guys. So Marc-Andre Fleury's childhood idols were Patrick Roy and Martin Brodeur, as Athletic Judd pointed out in his article last night. Each of those legendary goalies had one more big run left in them after the age of 35. And that's where Marc-Andre Fleury sits right now at, 37?
Yeah.
I think he's 37 years old.
Yes.
So Patrick Roy hoisted his fourth Stanley Cup in 2001, nearing the twilight of his career. He was still, he was 35, and he was still playing at a really high level, but, this was kind of the last big run for him in 2001. And then Marty Brodeur, in his age 39 season back in 2012, led New Jersey all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. They fell in 6 to the Kings. But all the great netminders, they've got one last run in them at some point. And for Roy, it was hoisting a cup, the fourth cup, just like Marc-Andre Fleury is chasing.
Yes.
And Marty Brodeur had, I think he was going for his fourth cup in 2012. And like I said, they lost in 6 to that Red Hot Kings team. Was that Jonathan Quick when he stood on his head for 2 months? So if he's looking for inspiration, mid to late 30s, from his childhood idols, you can find those guys knocking on the door of Stanley Cups. Very interesting.
Well, let me add another one to the name, too, and Dominik Hasek, the Dominator, who was damn good. And for my money, as I could love to start a hockey war with all the hockey nerds, the best goaltender of all time. I think Dominik Hasek is the best goaltender of all time. Better than Brodeur, better than Roy. His peak, he was carrying horrible teams to the Stanley Cup, multiple MVP trophies. But then once he got out of Buffalo, he goes to Detroit, a very loaded team, but he helps the Red Wings get to a Stanley Cup and win a cup in his age 37 season, and was the backup to Chris Osgood when he won, and Hasek was 43 years old, helping the Detroit Red Wings to another cup. It's you can get by with old veteran goalies like this. Darcy Kemper in Colorado is having a great year. Statistically, analytically, he's been awesome. But he has a tendency to be a head case and melt down. And I trust someone like Marc-Andre Fleury to steal you more games when you need your goaltender to do that in the postseason than I do someone like Darcy Kemper. So veteran goalies, this happens all the time. And I think Flower can do the same thing with the Wild.
Interesting. He's in that sentence, right? I'm not saying he's as good as Hasek, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
And this might and he might be looking at this too. There's no guarantees after this season. That he might be looking at this as, let's lock in for 2 months. This is my last shot to tie my childhood idol Patrick Roy with 4 cups.
Well, and because he's super competitive, I think the experience in Chicago actually helps him, because he was 2 weeks ago on a team that was absolutely terrible and had no chance, and now he's with a playoff team. The other fun thing about Fleury that Brodeur, Roy for sure, and Hasek for sure had was the fact, watch them play. All 4 guys and Fleury has nothing in common with so many of the fundamentally sound goaltenders of today. Marc-Andre Fleury made back-to-back saves on James Van Riemsdyk of Philadelphia last night, in which he's sprawling around, and the second save is literally he throws his hand and glove up, makes a save, and sort of spikes the puck back, and it has nothing, so many goaltenders now are technically sound, right? They've got the VH and the reverse VH, and they're down a lot, but they're very sound in what they're doing. Flower is a throwback to when I was a kid, goalie, sprawling, like he is the ultimate guy to pretend that you're him during a street hockey game when you're flailing around and you're making crazy saves. It's so much fun to watch. And he style saves too. So he'll make a glove save and hold it there for almost like the cameras, which goaltenders used to do. Now it's you don't even have to make a great looking save, because a lot of these guys are just in the right position. Yeah. The Flower, man, he is so much fun to watch. He's sprawling around and making saves. But I love that fact about late in the career, one final big hurrah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there it is. 4 observations from the Hockey Whisperer. Got Athletic Judd in the house here, writing 1,400 glorious words about a 7th straight Wild victory
over the Philadelphia Flyers on Tuesday night. It was fun, though.
All right, let's pause. We'll come back with some write that down predictions and an accountability session where we admit where we were wrong every single week.